Firstly, thank you, Eckhart, for being here and helping me be here. I have experienced the beauty of being present, and then, quite surprisedly, caught myself reacting unexpectedly with severe ego, which just took me completely by surprise. And that actually caused me to question whether or not I had any real consciousness at all to begin with. That would be my question, whether or not it's normal. Does the ego actually strengthen itself with more consciousness, or is that just particular to my individual case?
Occasional anger, extreme.
Yes.
Well, and that wasn't there before?
Oh, it was definitely there before, and it doesn't have to be extreme. It's that constant sort of judging. Sometimes it subsides, but it approaches when least expected, especially after a meditation, perhaps.
All those old patterns, they don't go away immediately, even as you become present. They have their momentum, especially patterns like that may be associated with emotional residues that we call pain body. They may act out for quite a while, even as presence is already there. They may still be acting out. Let's just ask you, when the anger comes, is it preceded by certain thoughts, or does it come so suddenly that you don't even know where it came from? Or is there first some judgment about a situation or person, and then the anger?
Typically, yes, and there is a certain theme around it, expecting people to be aware or conscious of their own surroundings, which include me. Sometimes I see it approach, but the most disturbing ones are always when it just comes out of the blue.
Mm-hmm. And immediately afterwards you're aware. Mm-hmm. Immediately afterwards.
Yes, and sometimes during.
During, oh well, that's a...
Like, where did that come from?
Because usually the sequence is that a person after anger or any unconscious reaction to do with emotional body or certain mind patterns, awareness comes in later, after the energy of the pain body attack, let's call it that. After the energy of the pain body attack has subsided, which can be a while for some people. After a strong pain body attack, the energy remains for quite a while and then gradually subsides, or it could be an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a day before it finally, and then you wake up and say, what was all that? And the time gap between the actual event and the awareness returning tends to get shorter as you become more present, until immediately after it's happened, even the energy is still there but no longer at its highest, you're already beginning to be aware of what's happening. And then the great step forward is when in the middle of it you become aware. And you're at that right now, sometimes. Mm-hmm. In the middle of it, there's already an awareness while it's still happening. Is that right with you?
Yes.
So the next step is, and this is my prediction for you, I don't make many predictions, but because I know how it evolves, the awareness is there just as the anger comes in, before it externalizes itself and expresses itself. When the impulse comes to be angry, the awareness is there. And at that moment then, you will have a choice to express it Or not to keep it down, but to, whatever you do with it, or walk somewhere, go somewhere, breathe, or simply be there as the presence and let it pass through you. You then have a choice when it comes, before it automatically does. And then the next step after that, the impulse is not as strong as before, and you notice it just comes in like, and then immediately you're there as the presence, and in the light of presence it goes, it meets the light of presence, and then it melts. So if you're already way in the middle now, that is a great thing. And you will notice very soon, as I said, you'll be aware just before it becomes externalized. Be patient with yourself. Apart from that, of course, it could also happen that as awareness grows, some people think they're getting worse, but they're simply becoming more conscious of what has already been there for many years. So I'm often asked by people, am I getting worse? Because there's so many things inside myself that I can detect that are dysfunctional still, or reactive patterns. Of course, no, you're just be more aware of them now. That is also, in many cases, so. You're becoming more aware of all that, so you see it, whereas before you were it. There's a huge difference between seeing a pattern inside yourself and being the pattern, being used by it, merging with it, acting it out totally. So that's a wonderful thing if you can see it. Okay, in addition to that, it may also happen that as presence begins to flow into many areas of your life, relationships, and so on, the ego, perhaps joined with the pain body, withdraws into one corner of your life, but takes up very firmly takes up residence in one corner of your life and says, I'm not going from here. The rest of your life may be already great improvement on relationships, flow, presence, less and less conflict, and so on, inner peace. But there's one area in one little corner where the ego and the pain body are, and I'm not going. So all the ego takes refuge in one corner, which could be, for example, one person in your life towards whom you harbor a strong grievance. Everything else is fine. You forgive everybody. And there's that one person. And the moment you think of that person or the name is mentioned, an enormous influx of unconsciousness takes hold of you. It doesn't have to be a person. It can also be an area. It could be a group of people that the unconsciousness, where forgiveness has not happened, and unconsciousness has taken refuge in that area. It could be money. Whenever I'm okay with anything, as long as nobody mentions money. Say, whenever you'd have to deal with anything to do with your bank, or your pension plan, or your salary, or your investments in Wall Street, or the chairman of Goldman Sachs, or whatever. Whenever you're on the phone then to do with anything with money, you will notice then, if you are one, you're not, but I'm just, immediately taken over by extreme unconsciousness, and you start getting very unpleasant. What do you mean the shares have gone down? How can they go down? And this was a person who, the last 3 weeks, was absolutely present and forgiving and lovely. But suddenly somebody mentioned money and brings up old fear that has been there for a long time, fear of survival. And of course so it could be any area where it's not uncommon for a dark pocket to survive in you of unconsciousness somewhere in your life. So, and it may be so dark that you might not even know it. You have to ask your friends or family. So, there you need to be, of course, very alert. And the moment you say, okay, now I have to deal with the money matter, if that's just one example, or you might still have to occasionally deal with that person where the unconsciousness is, who knows. So, okay, then I have to ring my Wall Street investment advisor. Okay, absolute presence. How are the shares doing? They have gone down 20% in one day. Okay, I hear what you're saying. It is what it is. There may be an improvement next week. Do you think so? You don't? Well, just have to live with it. If there's no improvement, I might sell a few next week. And of course, the investment person may be, well, next week may be too late. Well, we'll see. Fresh present, feel the inner energy in your body. It's okay. I'm still alive. Presence with great care. It's like handling something that's hot. That's how. So this is when you deal with an unconscious area, the last unconscious area in your life. And if you should lose yourself, then wake up. It could be great if you could wake up in the middle of shouting on the phone. That's just, oh dear, there it is. And that doesn't mean you failed. It means that's great. You're there now. Yes. So whenever you discover a dysfunctional, unconscious pattern in yourself, it doesn't mean you failed. It means you're there. So it's always a great thing to see it in yourself.